Thank you. Have you heard of post-truth before?
No, not specifically. No,
Okay.
No.
So, do you trust authority as much these days as you, with the growth of social media and the internet, and there's a lot more sources of how we trust authority less than you might have done in years gone by?
Not necessarily, but I think the kind of I mean, we're all drowning in a clutter of information, and to be able to discern what even is truth anymore is virtually impossible. Because I've always thought that even I was just actually watching on SBS last night. There was a film, there was a doco about technology of the 80s and how the 80s was such an incredible decade in terms of the establishment of the technology that we use every day today. And I remember thinking that as a kid, just about everything that I could imagine the future to be, like, in bed when I wasn't watch telly, I was like, I wish you could watch television on a little screen and take it to bed and watch it in bed. And now you can. And all these other things, which could communicate to people instantly on the other side of the world without having to dial 100 numbers, and now you can.
Yeah.
And so there's virtually nothing more, except time travel or something, that I would envisage as a kid occurring in the future that hasn't actually occurred. But what we've got ourselves into this situation now where all these forms of information seem so legitimate. I mean, Facebook and Twitter and Instagram seem so kind of seem sort of part of our culture, and so kind of legitimized by their form.
Yeah.
But as always, the content is completely undefinable and often dubious, and people think that they're reading or seeing truth because the format looks so professional and has sort of snuck its way under our radar to be part of our sort of social fabric now. But in reality, we've got no idea what we're consuming. So the very notion of truth, I think, is actually slightly dubious now.
Okay, so what do you believe in the truth then?
Do I believe in the truth? Well,
you believe in truth?
Of course. I mean,
okay, it's just because you said the notion of truth is dubious now. So
the notion of truth being
as a source that's available.
Yes. And people, I mean, I don't know. Are people looking for truth anymore? Are people sort of wanting to, is truth a priority for people, or do people just want to be entertained? I suspect people are just wanting constant amusement at a higher and higher kind of speed as our brains adjust to this technology. It's funny, going back to the 80s, I coveted a set of encyclopedias, and there used to be this guy down in Dandenong, a bookshop seller, who had a second-hand bookshop owner who sold nothing but second-hand encyclopedia sets, and he made a perfectly good living selling encyclopedia sets. Now, and 2 weeks ago at my op shop in the Yarra Valley, I bought a set of Encyclopedia Britannica for like $20, and it was the beautiful leather-bound ones.
Yes.
And it was exactly the same set that I paid $800 for.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
And so, is that the truth? You sort of, and somehow sort of opening that book and reading a piece of history in the Encyclopedia Britannica the other night it just felt more solid. It just felt, I'm actually reading something that's been properly researched, and they haven't, the people who put together encyclopedias of old didn't just throw it in. They really did their research and put it in there.
What do you think that does to knowledge? Because if the people that basically it puts up a lot of power in the hands of the people who are writing the encyclopedias, because they get to decide what is the knowledge.
Yes.
So
well, in that sense, though, that's totally correct, and knowledge, not so much truth, but knowledge has been far more democratized in that sense.
Yeah.
I mean, it said the other morning when his 7-year-old said, "Oh, Dad, can you Google something for me?" in his opening speech yesterday, which was quite telling, I thought. The notion that knowledge is held by gatekeepers is totally gone now, because we can look up Wikipedia. I mean, I write books. I write books about history. And, you know, Wikipedia has been an indispensable source for me, because it's allowed me to access troves of information that I previously would have taken me enormous amounts of time to access if I could even do it at all.
Yeah.
So
with that in mind, because you've expressed concern about the I don't know, the validity of some of the information through Facebook and whatnot, but you've also indicating that, you know, it's been a really useful tool. So what do you think about it? Is it a good thing? Are we glad that we've got all this stuff? Is it going to make the world a better place?
Oh, who knows? It's I hope that's the right question, but I don't think it is. I think we're at the stage now where the thrill of all this. I mean, I'm 54, so I'm the generation. It's a rather unique generation, actually, because it completely spans pre and post digital. I grew up in a non-digital.
Yeah.
So I remember growing up as a young adult without any of this.
Yeah.
And now it's in the early 60s. Remember exactly what it was like beforehand.
Yeah.
The thrill of it's gone. I mean, sometimes but apart from that, whether it's going to make our lives better, whether it has made our lives better, I don't know.
Do you think it helps us get closer to the idea of truth, to a truth?
Not necessarily, because knowledge isn't truth. Information isn't truth. And back trying to sort of find our way through that kind of eternal chicane, I think.
Okay. Just one last question, because I know you didn't have long. Can you just give me one example of something that's true for you?
Something that's true for me. The forests where I live up in the Yarra Valley, there's a certain amount of truth up there, where I walk through the big gum trees up there. I don't know, it sounds odd, but
no, it doesn't.
There's something undistillable about the truth of nature.
Okay. Thank you so much for talking to me.
You're welcome. Okay, thanks.